listen. Excellent job. You're so brilliant. Rule number 3 is look at teacher. Excellent. Rule number 4 is sit nicely and quiet. Very, very good. And rule number 5 is
Raise hand.
raise your hand. Very, very good. Raise your hand. Excellent job. Now, okay, so now what I would do is, this whale I would have hidden before the class. So I would hide him, and I would take my portable speaker and I'll put it with the whale. And then I'll play whale sounds.
Where the whale sound?
I'll play a whale. So I'll go to everyone, shh, can you hear that? And then there's a whale. Okay, the whale sound, whatever. Oh, let's go have a look what it is. Everyone stand up.
Stand up.
And I would add something like maybe let's tiptoe. Okay, so they learn like extra things, you know. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. I'll pause the whale. I'll be like, oh, where is the whale? Press play again. Tiptoe, 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 tiptoe. Oh, I think I can see the whale. Play it one more time. And maybe they're like a kid. Teacher Mike, I can see it. Oh. Woo, okay. I found the whale. Good, everyone. Let's go sit down. Boom, boom, boom. Now, his name is Wally the whale. Everyone say hello, Wally.
Hello, Wally.
Oh no, everyone. Wally is very sad today. He says he has no friends. Can we help Wally find his friends? Yeah. Okay. Then, as I mentioned before, these would be hidden. And I would, just in case they don't understand, I would find the first one. I'd be like, oh, I found one of his friends. And then the kids would know to find the flashcards, we would collect them, go sit down, okay? Now, let's see, do you know your animals? What animal is this?
No.
Let's go slowly, slowly, slowly. Anyone? What animal is this? Okay, if I had a board, I would, especially with sounds like T, hard sounds, which are difficult for the children, I'll write the letter T, I'll be and get them depending on the level, of course, okay. Turtle. Turtle. Good. Then I'll do the same, just make it fun for the next ones. Penguin, jellyfish. I'll maybe ask them, let's make the sound like a penguin, walk like a penguin, make it fun like that. Afterwards, I would maybe lay out a game, so put the thing there, lay out these, 1, 2, 3, put one of these next to each of the hoops, and then I'd add in like maybe extra steps. So step 1, I say 2 feet, and then I go 2 feet. I say jump, penguin, jump, turtle, boom, boom, boom. They can throw, they get points on the board, etc., etc. Then you can change it up. So I'd maybe say left foot or 1 foot. Just add in those extra vocab words and get them to repeat it. And kids are great; they eventually pick up on it. And I'll play that game with them. And in all of this, I would probably add a bit of singing a hello song when I see them. And right at the end, just to like test them to see how much they've learned and what I can do differently, I'd maybe just lay them out and say, Dogfut, can you show me where the penguin is? And I'll just do like a small test and do something like that, and then a goodbye song. I have little goodbye songs that I like to teach them with their hands. Like I said, I like to practice the motor skills with the small ones. So I have goodbye songs that I do with that, depending on their level. Yeah. Goodbye everyone. Woo. Goodbye. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Alright.